Hi, my name is Wooly or Chris, and I platinum games so you don't have to. I finally beat Splitgate 2, so let's talk about it, let's rate it, and let's never do it again. Now, before we continue and talk about Splitgate 2 and the trophies, I need to explain that when I normally do trophy hunts, I do a video showing the journey of unlocking all the trophies, but I didn't start recording or streaming again until I had 21 out of 23 of the trophies required for the platinum. With that being said, I stream 2 to 3 times a week on Twitch, and you can find the link below, as well as my Discord and other social medias. Splitgate 2 is best described as a competitive 5v5 first-person arena shooter, with the unique twist of it being that a fast-flowing movement system similar to Titanfall, and with portals that can be used to traverse the map and create unique gunfights. You play as 3 classes of varying weapons and abilities, and across a plethora of multiplayer maps and modes. Now, onto the trophy list. PSN Profile's lane pulls this game as 150 hours with a difficult of 5 out of 10.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn!
But for me, I did it in 70 hours and I didn't find it as difficult.
Come on, man! That's too easy!
Apart from a select few trophies, but we'll talk about them later. All trophies, bar from 1, work on a 3-tier system. For example, with headshots, you have a trophy at 20, 100, and then 1,000. And all the other trophies work on something similar, with the exception being the Killer Stack trophy, which is 1,047 kills, which is also a homage to the developers, with them being called 1047. Now, the majority of these trophies can be completed through open play and will happen naturally without much grind. Only a few have a really long grind to them. For me, I found the Savior based kills to be one of the more difficult grinds. Now, the Savior based kills are gained by killing players that are actively shooting at teammates, which in my opinion are very hard to get consistently without changing your playstyle. And even then, you'll find a lot of times if the enemy player reloads or a teammate isn't actively getting damaged for more than 1 second and you get the kill, you won't get that Savior medal. After that, the other lengthy trophies with the headshots, which seem to take forever, and the objective based trophies. These trophies are linked to the Hot Zone and Firecracker game modes. Another reason why they are harder to get is due to the matchmaking system. Currently, at the point of recording, Quick Play has 5 different modes and you cannot choose from them. You just have to get lucky and hope that you either get Firecracker or Hot Zone. Whereas Ranked has 3 game modes, which massively increases the odds, but unfortunately is required to game mode and it takes longer to find lobbies. Firecracker is Splitgate 2's take on a Search and Destroy style game mode, or something similar to Demolition from Call of Duty. I personally found the Firecracker plants and the diffusers to be a lot easier to breeze through, as it massively depends on your team's skill and the enemies. And if you were lucky, you could plant the bomb, let the enemies defuse, then quickly either portal or run to the other side, and rinse and repeat. This isn't as surefire, as teammates can either also be waiting for the bomb to respawn and steal it, or play very well and successfully defend it to completion. Now, with a 4-stack, you could absolutely farm it easily, but not everyone is that lucky. And for the final tier, you only need 150 plants or diffusals, which is very achievable if you good lobbies. On the flip side, the other objective-based game mode, Hot Zone, was my personal kryptonite. Hot Zone is a single capture point game mode where teams have to capture 2 points within the round to win it. Now, depending on if you play in Ranked or Quick Play, it goes from the best of 5 to the best of 3, which is very much limits how many captures you can get per game. In the Ranked mode, the max captures you could get in a match is 7, which is 2 winning rounds of 2 captures, 2 lost rounds with 1 capture, and a final round where you both just have to capture 1 point.
Talking about
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know anything about any numbers.
But in Quick Play, the most you can get is 5, which is 2 winning rounds of 2 captures and 1 lost round of 1 capture.
Oh, damn.
Now, it's very rare for this to happen, and bearing in mind, you have to be on the point as it actually gets captured, so sometimes you can die right before it, and the capture is completed and then you lose the point, which can suck. The reason why it's far worse than Firecracker is because there's a limit on how many you can get, and you have to get 250 captures for the final trophy compared to the Firecracker's 150.
tadpoles.
It all depends on skill and a smidge of luck. Finally, we get to the most limiting trophy of all, and that's the portal-based kills. Now, it sounds simple, with the final trophy only being 15, but the only way you can get it is if the enemy falls to their death after leaving your portal, which, given how portals can only go on certain surfaces, really limits what you can do. On top of that, for the most part, if someone does go through your portal, either to chase you or by pure luck, most players will boost to safety. So for the most part, I reckon you join a boosting group for the trophy on places like PSN profiles, which have sessions for boosting. I very much recommend signing up to that website because the sessions have really saved my bacon back in the day on less populated games. So finally, let's talk about my overall experience and my opinion on the pros and cons on if you should go for this platinum. For pros, I found the game to have really fun movement, and especially when chained with portals, it could lead to some very fun moments. As well as I found the gunplay to be tight with no issues on hit registration, but headshots can be janky sometimes, but that's very few and far between. The game is fun, and the game modes and maps were easy to learn and didn't feel too jarring or annoying, unlike maps from other FPS titles. Now on to the cons. Unfortunately, due to the players' reception to changes made by the devs, and in some cases lack of, the player base has vastly declined, which led to extended waiting times depending on if it's ranked or quick play. And it does also depend on what region you are and what time of day you're trying to play in. I have found that those who are still playing normally tend to be playing at a high skill level. So you'll find that, quick play or ranked, you're not going to be playing against new players that have just picked up the game for the first time. You're going to be playing against people who have been playing since the start of the beta. Another con that I found is 1047 limits some of the better game modes for grinding trophies to limited time events. So more casual game modes that made the game more bearable have gone after 5 days, then refreshed with something else. Game modes like no portals or swap, which made things like hot zone captures or headshots easier, disappeared, and if you work full time you might miss them completely. Now I found no portal to be very beneficial within the trophy hunting scape, especially things like hot zone or firecracker. If you'd killed all 4 players, you knew you had time to get the capture off or get the plant off the defusal, knowing that the enemy players couldn't just portal back to you instantly. Now I appreciate that the game itself, the unique selling point is portals. I just found for the trophy hunting certain game modes benefited from having less issues with portaling, if that makes sense. SWAT on the other hand was very good for the headshot kills because I'll be honest, I felt like I was going for headshots forever before it actually popped. But SWAT made that way more bearable. In the end, overall, I found this game to be fun at first, but it ended up being somewhat grindy and a bit of a miserable experience to the point where I wouldn't be touching this game ever again. So be warned, for a long grind and a chance that if the player numbers dwindle anymore, the game could be taken offline. Now that's not a guarantee, but I know at the point of recording this they did announce that they're going back to beta and taking Splitgate 1 offline. If they can't bring this back, there's a chance that this will get taken off as well, and then it will become unobtainable, so just bear that in mind, depending if you're going to pick it up or not.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
If you enjoyed this video and you want to follow along with the live stream, I stream on Twitch 2 to 3 times a week. And the best way to stay on loop is via my Discord linked below, and I'm currently working on Chivalry 2, where multiple steely men beat me off with their long swords.
What did he say?